Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a weekend weed review, what happened over the weekend, as well as some trade secrets, some intellectual property, and how to avoid being taken over or ripped off by employees, how to avoid employee theft. On the line with us is Dan Kimmis, our CBD correspondent with Good CBD Products.
I never really left, Kernick. I've been here the whole time, brother.
That's what I like to hear. So just looking at Marijuana Business Daily, seeing some of the things that happened over the weekend, it looks like the vape crisis continues with federal cannabis bill. Well, that's a separate thing. So this FDA discloses a criminal probe into vaping health crisis, putting an added scrutiny on the cannabis industry, and Walmart pulls the plug on all e-cigarette sales as the vaping crisis roils the marijuana industry. A couple other people in Oregon pulling it off the shelves entirely. Washington State just tested every single vape cart to make sure. A lot of things going on. It's definitely an issue that is being addressed.
So I went in the field yesterday, and I went roaming. I went asking questions about basically the vape crisis for an article I'm doing for the people who support us, right? And so it's interesting. I stopped at 7 different stores yesterday, Chronic, and one of the things that I get really systematic. So I have my whole, wrap and my questions and all of this. And, okay. Yeah. Massive impact in our market already, right? Stores literally feeling an impact, right down at the, total store sales volume, right? Where again, it's hitting people in the wallet right now. But it's also, the other thing that I thought was interesting is it's driving up flower sales, right? Because again, this is the thing is, if you are a cannabis user and you have been, maybe you've worked your way to vaping, okay? One of the things that is interesting is you do have other alternatives, and especially these days with some of the really clean cannabis options that are out there. So this is the other thing that was interesting in the stops yesterday is, the solution for the cannabis user. Going back to old school flower, brother. I dig it.
I have heard that as well. Just going into the shops and asking and seeing some of the reports, sales down as much as 25% for vapes, and on the other side, sales haven't decreased or in some cases increased as the store I went to has a select group of repeat customers. Majority are not new customers, and so it didn't affect them at all. I don't necessarily think that that's the trend. I think what we're seeing is a decrease in purchases until this whole thing gets hashed out and people are switching to flower. So I'm definitely seeing and feeling personally the same thing that you're witnessing.
Right. The dialogue in particular, I had 3 of the 7 stops, right? So not a majority, but still a significant number. Okay. When I said to them, are you experiencing any decline in business or is there any chaos caused by the vape crisis? I had 3 different store crew say to me, yes, and that's not the products we sell. We don't sell those products. That's not what we sell, right? And that uniformity of awareness as it works its way through the industry to try and ward off this thing that, again, because, if you buy the flower, that replaces part of what you were buying. But that doesn't replace everything, right? Because you were buying batteries, you were buying hardware, you're buying a lot of things to support that vape technology, if you will. And again, if you're a store, you thought you'd be making a lot of money. You're not. You're making some money. So making some less, okay? I mean, again, it's simple math. Nobody likes to see a sales downturn. It's not to just turn the vape crisis into dollars and cents, but through that lens, yeah, it is. It's impacting Washington State cannabis stores on the ground. I can tell you that because I saw it myself.
In addition to the vape crisis affecting retail stores, you still have a lack of data. We've discussed this numerous times. Next month will be the 2nd anniversary of having absolutely no data in the state, and that's affecting a lot of businesses. MJ Freeway just crashed in Pennsylvania. I think they got the brand new contract out there for Pennsylvania, and it just crashed. They've been around for half a decade. This is inexcusable. This is this shouldn't be happening. Okay, that's about as far as I
Oh,
want to go with that. But it's ridiculous. And then you
well,
have
you're
Patrick Vo from BioTrack THC leaving the company. That company shouldn't be around and getting contracts either. None of these companies should be getting contracts, and yet they're still around. It's maddening. It's unacceptable.
well, again, I like to look at chaos and look for solutions, look for opportunity, right? So I've been out, touching some parts of that industry. I got to say, there are some very promising potential players in that space, or players in that space with potential, I guess would be a better phraseology. So like I dig my pals Brightman. Full disclosure, I got to do more digging, more tech understanding, right? But again, what's interesting is essentially, depending on your view or opinion, and this is all opinion, the business malpractice of getting the contract and, failing redundantly, right? Failing repetitively, getting other contracts, knowing you're failing elsewhere repetitively, and getting other contracts. And again, in the end, you can bet the executives of that company are getting paid. So that is wrong. It's just wrong. Again, when you look at what's happened in Washington, if you were in that space, if you were a regulator or somebody looking at working with somebody, go look at Washington, use it as a bit of a study, come to understand the history, and go choose better partners, because this is the thing. Apparently, it's a very hard thing to do because these other companies have not delivered, period.
Yeah, pretty crazy that they're still getting contracts and yet they can't actually provide a service that they're supposed to be getting paid for. So tax dollars at work.
I don't
right
get
there.
how do you get a contract when you have the PR disaster of Washington State going on? Okay, how do you get some other state to write you? Okay,
because the
get
Liquor
it.
and Cannabis Board
I mean,
for Washington
that
State
is
doesn't care. Their only concern is that they are in compliance. They don't really care about the data. So having BioTrack or MJ Freeway or whoever is fulfilling the requirements so that they don't get sued, they don't really care if it works
no,
or not. That's something that they can pass off on those companies so they can get sued. It's
sure,
a debacle.
no doubt.
They just don't care. The regulators are at fault and probably should get sued as well. That's my opinion.
Right, but if I was Danstonia, right, or if I was Chronic Town, right, and I was looking at wouldn't I go do some research and say to myself, yeah, I don't want MJ Freeway doing my compliance.
No,
right?
No, because
Wouldn't I
we've
do
seen
that
every
if I
single
was
state get one of
Danstonia?
these clowns. Every single one does it one after another. So no, I think it's just about being in compliance, spending the least amount of money as possible. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.